Okay, I guess we'll wait a few minutes.
Mhm.
I loved your video, Carol, of you blazing the meat.
Oh, I know. He was doing that. So yeah, the Easter celebration that we went to, it's my son's girlfriend's parents that live like
Okay.
right down the street. And our son is at college. They've been dating for 3 years now. But we always hear about like this amazing Easter celebration
Mhm.
brunch. And so we're like, if you could, we wouldn't mind getting invited.
Yeah.
We know the parents. My husband plays hockey with the dad every
Okay.
week. And we've had dinner as a couple with the parents before. But we knew that it was like a fancy setup. Like she goes
Mhm.
all out. Like everything is beautifully decorated, like the table, the house, everything. But what we did, and we had heard the food was great, but like I had no idea. So one of the families' um, daughter goes to San Luis Obispo, Cal State San Luis Obispo, which is like in the central California area. And
Mhm.
I guess in that area, there's a wild boar like overgrowth. Like there's too many. And so every year you're allowed to go and shoot some wild boar just to
Mhm.
help keep like the population down. So this dad takes his two daughters to go shooting every year. They'll pass like 3 years or whatever. And so the ham that we had was wild boar and it was amazing. And then another dad friend, like it's pretty incredible. They've been friends since like the girl, the one young lady has been in preschool. So they've known each other for at least like 15, 18 years, something like that. Anyways, then the other dad brought brisket. And there's this place down the coast called Cardiff. It's a small town called Cardiff, and they have this tri-tip that they like tumble and they marinate, and it's super expensive, but it's like the most deliciously marinated tri-tip. And
Wow.
it's so tender, but it's like crazy, like $15 like a pound or whatever. Well, he found that Stater Brothers has the same thing that Stater Brothers, which is a grocery store here, they have a tumbler too, and they tumble their meat, and it was way less. And he sous vide it, and I was like, "What is sous vide?"
I don't even know
And
what that means.
I know, so SOUS, and then the second word is VIDE, and it's putting the meat in like 120 something degree temperature for like 2 hours, and it just gets the meat so that the whole inside is like whatever temperature you want. So he did like medium rare. So like how if you do tri-tip, the ends of it get kind of like burnt, the outside of it's like more cooked, and like only the
Mhm.
middle part is like perfect. So when you sous vide it, the whole thing is cooked to that temperature. So end to end, it's medium rare. But then you want to crisp it up. So then he brings out this blowtorch, and we're like,
Yeah.
what? And he's just in the kitchen, like, and I was like, what the heck? And he's like, I have to take some pictures of this.
Yeah, I know.
And
I
then
was
he's
like,
like,
what
here,
are they
Carol,
doing?
do it. And I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
what?
And I loved how you were like all taking turns. I just thought it was awesome.
Yes, we had a
That's
great Easter.
crazy.
It's
That's
delicious.
awesome though.
Yeah. So, anyways, I think that filled up enough time so we could get some people on the call. Do you want to start? I can do a quick
Yeah,
little
yeah.
intro.
We're ready
Okay.
to go. We're good. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, so we've got Lauren Cattie here. She's in my team, way down, way underneath Annie Hauser. But
Echo. Echo.
she, what?
I'm under Echo. Annie's my cross
Oh,
line.
yeah, you're
Yeah, yeah.
under Echo. Okay. But you're way down.
Yes.
But anyways, Lauren has a red personality, which I can appreciate because I'm a red personality. She just gets stuff done. But she's also very organized, which I'm not organized. She also knows like systems and stuff. And I'm like, what? And so every time I hear her speak and talk, I always learn a bunch. And so last week, if you missed last week's Monday call, she talked about, God, I just spaced out. What'd you talk about?
I talked
Oh,
about, oh my gosh, now I'm spacing.
I know. You
What did I
talked
talk
about
about?
how to grow your business. Anyways, it was fantastic. And I learned a lot in terms of like follow up and different tips and tricks. And then Lauren already had a couple different topics. Oh, she talked about sample groups last time and how she gets classes and enrollments.
I feel like I like started on one topic last week and I like went to a million different ones. That's why I'm like,
Yes.
what did I even talk about?
No,
I
you
think,
talked about how your team is enrolling so many people
yes,
because
yes.
corporate called you and was like, congratulations, you have one of the fastest and enrolling, biggest enrolling teams
Yeah.
since Black Friday, what, 2020,
2020.
which
Yeah.
is
So I was like,
insane.
what? Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, obviously Lauren knows her stuff, but she mentioned in that call that she could talk about getting to silver and six, which is a great thing to do. And she also talked about doing sample classes. So today's call is about getting yourself to silver and six and all that is encompassing with that. So that note, thanks, Lauren. Take it away.
Thank you for having me back. And yeah, this actually worked out perfectly because I was going to have this call for my team. And so I'm like, well, my team is, I see some of my team on here as well. I just kind of like merged the calls together and I'm always happy to share information with anybody. I know there's like some people that like gatekeep. I'm not one of those people. Like I think there's enough success to go around and there's enough for everybody, right? And so yeah, I'm always happy to share what I'm doing and like what's working for my team. And yeah, so last week, I think I'm like thinking, what was the point of my call last week? Because like I said, I went on a million different topics. But I think I started out talking about like goal setting and how most people don't reach their goals because they don't have a plan. And so if you were on last week's call, by hearing me talk, you probably know that I'm a really big goal setter. I've always been that way since I started this business. I never really like dipped my toes in. Like when I was doing the business, I did the business. I enrolled 21 people my first month in the business. I didn't like, oh, let me dabble and see what happens. Like when I'm going to do something, I do it 100%. And so with that, I ranked very quickly in the business. I've been at platinum for a few years now, but in my first 3 years, I got to platinum. And so that was me setting goals and being very intentional about the way I was doing things. And I hit silver in 5 months. And I hear a lot of people that silver is kind of like the first big goal, right? Like it's the first big rank. And I see a lot of people that just are full of self-doubt in getting there. And so I thought it would be helpful to have a call on how you can get to silver quickly in 6 months, because honestly, it is totally doable. We're going to talk about all the things, but if you're treating your business like a business and you're making a plan, there's absolutely no reason why you wouldn't be silver in 6 months. And honestly, this call isn't just about hitting silver in 6 months. It's about ranking up in general. It doesn't matter what rank you are. It doesn't matter if you've fallen back in rank, like I've fallen back in rank. Like a lot of us have, right? With just like the ebb and flow of things. And so I think the important thing that kind of I'm getting across this week and last week is the importance of setting goals, knowing where you're going, and then showing up with action behind those goals. So like last week, I have a little slideshow presentation. I like to make little slideshows because I feel like it's so much easier with everybody like taking screenshots and yeah, so let me pull this up here. Just kind of gives me some like key points too. Here we go. Okay. So we're going to talk about 6 months to silver. Like I said, also, this is just about ranking up in general. So there are I include some fun pictures in here so I've actually been to silver retreat 3 times. I went for mine, I went for my husband's, and then this past October, I had some of the leaders on my team there. And so I was blessed enough to be able to go out and celebrate with them. So I kind of incorporated some of those pictures in here. They're just fun. So I wanted to highlight why silver is such a big deal. Every rank is a big deal, right? But silver is like the rank where I feel like this gets real. It's the first major pay jump in this business. It's the first leadership rank where you get special perks from Young Living. I can't tell you how life-changing it was to me to be able to text into leadership instead of having to call and sit on chat for a customer service issue. So once you hit silver, you're able to text in and like get those customer service issues taken care of really quickly. It's also the rank where you start earning those all expense paid retreats, which is super fun. And honestly, it's just life-changing. Like I feel like silver is where it was like a full income, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, this is not my side hustle. This is not a hobby. This is my business. And like, I just had such a fire under me to like keep growing. And I was getting all of these amazing perks and things from Young Living. So we're going to talk about how do you do it? This is one of my favorite pictures, Mary Young in Club Red. Okay, so I'm going to go through one slide at a time. I just have some tips and we're going to kind of dive into them. So when I first started this business, like I said, I went all in, and some of the best advice I was given was act as the rank you want to be. So I think a lot of times we set these goals and we're like, when I am this rank, I'm going to do this, right? Like when I'm silver, I'm going to, I don't know, host a retreat. I'm going to give my business 3 hours a day. And so what I learned is how you actually get to that rank is by acting as that rank right now, right? It's not when I get to that rank I'm going to, it's, oh, that is what silver me would do. So I'm going to do that right now. And so that's been a huge one throughout my journey. I actually remember I said to myself, I think when I was like gold or when I hit platinum, I was like, when I'm diamond, I'm going to host retreats. And then I was like, that's so silly. Like, why am I waiting to host retreats? Now I host retreats like literally like every quarter for my team. I actually have one this weekend, which I'm very excited about. That'll be my second one for this year already. And so like, my point is like, if you have things you want to do you envision yourself doing when you are a certain rank, do them now. Like literally when you get off this call, brain dump and ask yourself, what would silver me do? What would or whatever rank you're going for, what would a gold leader do? What do I envision the rank I'm going for? What do I envision her or him doing? And write all those things down and then start doing them now. I also want to talk a little bit under this topic about mindset. I think silver is kind of when you have that goal, it's where you have to stop playing small, right? Like you can do this as a hobby and you can kind of dabble in this business and dip your toes in and be a star or a senior star or even executive. But if you want to go into these big ranks and you want this to be your business, you have to switch your mindset from, you have to stop playing small and go big, like step into boldness. Don't be afraid to like make this your business and do some of the things that we're going to talk about, like setting hours for your business and even some of the things we talked about last week, like getting uncomfortable and doing things that you normally wouldn't do, like sample groups or making IPA lists or having a schedule or whatever it is. Also stepping into leadership. I think that a lot of people have a hard time looking at themselves as a leader if they're not a super high rank. But the fact is, from the first time you enroll somebody, you are a leader. And so the more you lead, the more you bring those people along, the more your business is going to grow. Leadership is not a rank. It's not, oh, when I am gold, I'm a leader. It's not a qualification. It's not a personality trait. It's a choice. So before you think you're a leader, be a leader. And what does a leader mean? It means you go first, you rally people together, you bring people together. Maybe you're hosting events, or maybe you're setting the example for your team, right? Like you're guiding people, you're inspiring people. It doesn't matter if you have one person. If you have one person that signed up with you, that person is counting on you to lead them in some way, right? Whether it's using their oils, or maybe you tell them about the business and then they want to learn. You're still leading somebody, even if you have one person. I also just want to mention, because I know that Some of us have like fallen back in rank. And so this is kind of something that I've talked to my team about over the past, say, year or two. And that I myself have had this realization, like leaders show up in the valleys, right? So like not just on the mountaintop when things are great and your business is rapidly growing and you're just sitting back and not doing anything. It's like, oh my God, my team's enrolling all these people. Like leaders are the ones that keep showing up. They don't quit, they don't hide, they don't run away, they don't go somewhere else when things get hard. Like we as a leader and as somebody that's going to grow into silver and beyond, like that's when, like I said, you take your business seriously and you show up as a leader and you set that tone for everybody else. So, okay, so that's number one, act as the rank you want to be. Number two is treat your business like a business, not a hobby. So I feel like I said, like silver happens when you make the choice to say, this is my business. It's not really where, yeah, I feel like silver is like the first big rank, you know, it's like the first thing where you're like making the choice that like, this is your business. It's not just like a little side hustle anymore. And that shows in like your paycheck and the perks that you get. I also feel like your results reflect your choices and the time that you put into your business. So sometimes I'll have people say to me, I really want to get to silver, or I really want to get to gold, but then they're not making their business a priority, or they're not doing IPAs that grow their business, right? So your results will reflect the choices and the time that you put into your business. And this is, last week we talked about IPAs. And so I really want to like reiterate that as well, because I feel like when you're getting into those bigger ranks and you're growing your business into these leadership ranks, that's where you're going to see the results of those IPAs, rather than like I said, like having this as a hobby, or like maybe like scrolling on your phone or watching reels and being like, yeah, I'm working. Doing IPAs and income producing activities, things that grow your business, is how you're going to get into those bigger ranks. I also feel like silver is a really great, like when you're going for silver, it's a really great chance for you to reflect kind of on like where you want to go in this business. Like I said, like silver is where this gets real. And so I feel like there comes a point in everybody's young living journey where they get to make this choice of like, okay, this is real for me. I'm going to give the effort it deserves. I'm going to go into these bigger ranks, or I'm going to keep it as a hobby. So what I can tell you is when you make that choice to run with it as a full-on business, it is absolutely worth it. My life has been completely changed because of Young Living. Like silver is kind of, I mean, honestly, from my first month, that was true, because at the time my husband was working 4 jobs. So for me to sell 21 kits my first month when we were completely broke and my husband was working all these jobs, that was life-changing. But silver is where he was able to go down to just working one normal job because I had a whole extra like income, right? Yeah. So, okay, let's see. Yeah. And just some of the things I've already said, like making your business a priority. I'm really big, like Carol said, on like systems and organization. I know not everybody's like that, and that's okay. Like there's lots of leaders who have gotten to these higher ranks without being, there's not just one personality type and one way to do this business, but how I function is very like type A personality. I love systems. I love organization. I love schedules. Because if I don't, for me, my brain is just kind of like, there's just chaos inside. Like, I'm like, okay, I have to do these 20 things for my business this week. And then I'm probably not going to do any of them because I'm going to forget, right? If I don't have them scheduled or have a list or have something written down, or like, maybe I enroll 5 people last month. If I don't have my system for like what I'm walking them through when I enroll them, then I have 4 kids and I homeschool. So like, I'm going to be like off with my kids and doing this and doing that. And like, oh my gosh, I forgot to check in with those people, you know? So this is why systems and scheduling is so important to me. And like I said, for me, that's part of making my business a priority. Okay. So we did talk a little bit about IPAs. I do want to keep reiterating that because I do feel like that's like the, what's the saying? I can't think of it, but that's the center of this business, right? Like that's what you have to do to grow it. So I wanted to just give some examples of IPAs that you would do to get to any rank, honestly. But sharing every single day in every single way. Okay. You have to share every single day. Sometimes, I'll have like one-on-ones with people on my team, or we'll have like smaller calls, or we'll be, have like a business meeting or something. And somebody will start sharing about like how their business isn't growing and they're not enrolling people. And then we kind of like start breaking down like why, and they're like, well, like we'll be like, when's the last, like, how have you been sharing? And they're like, well, I posted on social media like 3 weeks ago, right? Like you have to share every single day. I think I shared this on the last call, but there's actually a statistic that it takes people 10 to 12 times of seeing something for them to go for it. And actually this morning, if you guys watched the Maximize Your Month call, Wendy mentioned it takes 4 contacts with somebody, like personal contacts, for them to typically like buy whatever you're selling. And so imagine if you're only sharing about like Valor, say once a month. And so somebody that needs Valor, it's going to take them a whole year for them to be like, oh, maybe I should buy that. Right. So you have to be sharing every single day in every single way. Don't be afraid to share too much. Don't be afraid to repeat yourself. It needs to be reiterated to people. And I always give the example of like, if Target were like, do you think Target hesitates to like put an ad out? Do you think they hesitate to like put a billboard and a magazine and a commercial and this and that, and have this when you walk in the store, and have their circular come in the mail? Like, no, any successful business, that's just one example, but any business is advertising in all the ways. My husband owns a landscaping business. We're advertising on Facebook. We're putting flyers up. We're sending out business cards. You know what I mean? Like it's not too much. This is your business and it should be treated like a business, and you should be sharing in all the ways every day, and having that, like putting it out to the world in all the ways. Also constantly connecting with people. That is literally the center of this business. You need the people to connect with in order for them to hear the message that you're sharing. So I'm really big on expanding my network. Every single day, I try to make at least 3 new friends. And for me, that's 90 new people a month. If you just add, you add, or you get 3 new followers, or you make 3 new friends a day, 90 new people a month that you are sharing Young Living with, and they're seeing your content, and you can have, just slip it into conversation if it comes up or whatever it is. Of course, you'll be enrolling when you're expanding your network and having that many new people, right? Yeah, so constantly be connecting with people, whether it's, we have the world of social media. Like, how simple is it to get in some Facebook groups and make some new friends, right? Also connecting with prospects. Another little, again, I'm all about the strategy and the systems. A little percentage fun facts for you. I can't remember who it was. I don't think it was Eric Worre, maybe Tony Robbins, or like one of those big network marketing people. They shared something. I saw this a few years ago, that 85% of your time in your business should actually be spent with prospects. So enrolling new people. And so that means like expanding your network, sharing, having those conversations, hosting events and inviting new people in. So 85% of your time. And what I see is a lot of people spending 85% of their time more like in managing mode, like managing their current team, managing their current members, dealing with customer service issues, when in reality, only 15% of your time should be spent managing your current downline. Not because it doesn't matter, but more because it's easier to mass plug your entire team into certain things, right? Like Facebook groups and newsletters, and have an event or a class and invite them all in. It's not that you should be spending any less like resources on them. It's just that you should be spending more one-on-one time and efforts sharing and with prospects. And then 5% of your time should be spent resolving customer service issues. Okay, along with that, also connecting with members and educating them, and connecting with brand partners and bringing them along, giving people their referral links. I shared with you guys last week that I give every single person their referral link. I don't make it a thing. I'm not like, here you go, want to do the business with me? Here's the comp plan and here's this big training. I'm just like, oh, you signed up, cool, here's your referral link. It's so normal these days for people to have referral links, and so I make sure to give every single person theirs. Also teaching the lifestyle and loyalty rewards. That's going to be big for retention, right? Like retaining your members. Classes and more classes, following up with people. And then finally, I wrote, we all know what to do, because I feel like people know what to do, they just don't do it. And so this is why organization is so important to me, because I know what to do in my head. I know what to do to grow my business. I know how to enroll people. I know how to get people on loyalty rewards. I know how to get builders. I just need to organize and make time for my business to do those things to grow it. Okay, just a few other things. Well, first, I want to share this. At my silver retreat, I always remember this. Mary Young said, she was on stage, and the last thing she said before she got off a stage was, if you think you can't do something, it's because you're not willing to put forth the effort that it takes to get there. And I just love that quote, because what that reminds me of is that all of us have this power inside of us to literally do whatever we want in life, including get to silver and beyond. We just have to believe that we can do it and put the effort forth. And so that's what I'm here talking about, is the effort that it takes to get there. But I just want everybody to like write that quote down. I literally think about it all the time, because I think it's so easy to like get discouraged when little things happen, or like I said, in the ebb and flow of business. But in reality, every single one of us has the ability to go wherever we want in this business. Okay, so just touching on a few other things. So doing the hard and bold things. If something makes you uncomfortable, that's probably a sign that you should do it, right? I always ask myself, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? And usually there's nothing on the other side of my fear. Like, I remember when I started this business, I was like, I said to my husband, I was like, because I saw my enroller Echo doing all these live videos, and I was like, I am never doing a live video. I don't know how she gets on there with her face. She's talking to people like, what if I stutter? What if I this? What if I that? What if one of my kids runs in the background crying? There's nothing on the other side of any of my fears in this business, or with anything, like hosting an event. Oh my gosh, what if nobody shows up? Okay, what if nobody shows up? Then I have 2 hours set aside to work my business, right? Yeah, if you're afraid of something, there's probably nothing valid that's like a big detrimental thing on the other side of that fear. And so instead, ask yourself, what's the best thing that could happen? Like, you could do a live video and you could have your next diamond watching that video. You could give somebody their referral link and they could go share that with 20 people. You could host a class and you could have you could have 3 members show up and each of them invite 2 people to come with them, or be so inspired about you hosting this that they go teach that information that you taught to other people and make an impact, right? So if you're scared of something, do it. If you are like, be bold, right? Be bold and do those big, scary things, because that's what a leader would do. That's what somebody would do that prioritizes their business and growing their business. And this is back to what I was talking about when I said, like, stop thinking small, like get out of that mindset and like think big and think bold. Also investing in your business. I really hope that you guys are going to convention this year. I cannot express that enough. So last year was the first year since I started this business that I did not go to convention. I actually had something else conflicting that week. I had a wedding, and honestly, looking back, I would have skipped that wedding to go to convention. Like, I had serious FOMO, and just the inspiration that I get from being there, being surrounded by like-minded people, getting my team there, right? Community, bringing people along. There's nothing else like it. And honestly, the biggest impact I see in my business is when I come home from convention. I don't know if she's on here. I can't see the full view right now because I'm sharing my screen, but one of the silver leaders on my team, not long after she started the business, she came to silver. Her name is Dawn Armstrong. You might have seen her. She is one of the top enrollers on my team. She is a crazy woman, and she actually went to Hawaii she earned the Hawaii trip twice now, but it was not long after she started the business. She earned Hawaii, and Eric Worre was there talking about 20 and 30. And this woman enrolled 40 people in 30 days. She doubled the challenge. And yeah, she's just incredible. So she, not long after she started the business, she came to convention, and she hadn't enrolled anybody when we went to convention, and she came home, and literally it was like at the end, it was when it was in July at the end of the month. It was like in a week, she enrolled 11 people. And she was like, it was because I went to convention and I just had so much inspiration to share. And I saw the farm and I had to tell everybody I know about that. So make the investment in your business to go to convention. Like, that's what business owners do. That's what leaders do, right? They invest in their business, even if it's on a small scale. Go share a hotel room with somebody, like watch plane tickets and get the cheapest plane ticket. Like, take your own food, go Instacart there. And you know what I mean? Like, you can do it on a budget, but I promise you that when you invest in your business, it comes back to you tenfold. So I'm going to keep saying about convention because it's so important to get there. I've mentioned leadership a few things, a few times, but I also want to reiterate, like, setting the example for your team. And that truly is how you get into these bigger ranks, is like, it's not so much like having your team do it for you. It's you doing the things and setting the example, right? And also, like, if you don't have something, create it. Don't wait for somebody in your upline to do something. Don't wait for somebody in your downline to do something. Back to leadership, like, you do it yourself. Again, I can't see my screen because I'm sharing. I can't see who's on here, but I'm gonna shout out another leader on my team, another Dawn, actually. Her name is Dawn Adams, and she lives in Maine, in the middle of nowhere. And I have just seen her grow so much into a leader. And, you know, you hear sometimes people will say like, oh, well, I don't have a community. I don't have classes, in-person classes to go attend. And I always remind people that none of us did, right? We all started with buying a starter kit and creating community. Like, at one point, like, my leader, my enroller, she's in Texas. Like, I created what I have here. And so this leader on my team, Dawn, never once said, oh, I don't have community. I don't have this. She hosts an event every Friday night, every single Friday night. She gives up her Friday nights and she hosts an in-person event. And I have watched her for a long time now post these pictures every Friday night. And it started with like one person there and two people there. And now there's like 10, 12, 15 people in her pictures. Like, she's built this community. And instead of complaining about it and looking to somebody else and saying, oh, I can't do this because I don't have a community, she's created this amazing thing. So that's also part of leadership, is like I said, going first, and like, you create what you wish that you had. Taking ownership of your organization, not waiting, not assuming that so-and-so is taking care of this person. Of course, you want to empower your leaders to take care of their people. But I also will work with anybody on my team. I have Zoom calls for my whole team. I offer one-on-one calls to my whole team. I send weekly newsletters to my whole team. Like, I take ownership of my organization, and I am a resource for my whole team. So that's part of leadership as well. I've mentioned this a few times between last week and this week, but making time for your business daily. Even, it doesn't matter, like, whatever time you have. If you have a half hour after your kids go to bed, if you have 2 hours in the middle of the day, if you have to wake up early, if you have to stay up late, whatever it is, like, make your business a priority. That is how you get to silver. That is how you hit a goal in 6 months or quicker. You know, it's really about how much you can give. Obviously, the more time you give, the quicker you're going to grow. But more importantly, making it a priority and showing up every day and doing those IPAs, that's what's going to grow your business. That's what's going to keep you on track for hitting these goals quickly. If you get to the end of the week and you're like, oh, shoot, I didn't show up to my business this week, then you have to ask yourself, is this a priority to me? Because you're not making it one to show up daily, right? We all have busy lives. Some people don't like when I say this. It might be like a little red personality, I guess, but in my opinion, when something is a priority to you, there's no excuses, right? You will make time for it. There's seasons where I have stayed up till midnight working my business. Not saying you have to do that, but stayed up till midnight, 1 a.m. working my business, or woken up early, or sacrifice something else to show up to my business when I was running fast for a big goal. And so that's something that you have to reflect on and say, okay, what is my goal? What is the time frame I want to hit it? And what am I willing to give to hit that goal? Because if you're just starting this business and you're like, I want to hit silver in 3 months, and then you're like I said, getting to the end of the week and you're like, oh, I shared one post or I didn't, then that's probably not realistic. I really love, another person in my upline. Her name's Joanna Malone. So she enrolled my enroller, and we just hosted a retreat together in January, and we were talking about all of this. And she was saying how when she has business builders start, she always tells them to, on a piece of paper, write down their 3 absolutes. So like the 3 things they're not willing to sacrifice. So say it's like dinner with your family every night, your kids' sports events, and getting 8 hours of sleep a night. And then you can say like, okay, these are the things I'm not willing to sacrifice, but you can look at your time and look at your life and be like, okay, I can fit an hour of work in every day here. So I think that's really important. Next tip is being confident. I say telling, not asking. So I always think about, I had this Zoom call with my team a while back. And whenever I have a new brand partner, I always host a class with them. So like I help them host their first class. We co-host it together. And somebody asked me, we were talking about this in the call, and somebody was like, how do you get them to do that? And one of my newer brand partners came forward and she was like, she didn't give me a choice. She just said, this is what we're doing. She told me, she didn't ask. And so I always think about that. So I'm like, I just told her like, hey, this is what we're going to do. Like if we overcomplicate things and we're hesitant, then people are going to be hesitant. They feed off of our energy. And so if you're like, hey, this is what we're going to do, this is going to be amazing, I'm so excited to do it with you. Yeah, they're going to do it. Right. So tell people, like, be bold and be confident. It's the same thing that I was talking about with like referral links. Like, I don't ask people, do you want your referral link? Do you want to do the business? Like, no, here you go. Right. Or like when people ask me for an oil recommendation, I'm not like, do you want to buy the starter kit? I'm like, this is the starter kit. It's amazing. It's going to be the best deal for you. It has all of these oils that are going to help you. Here you go. Here's the link. Like, I'm not asking them. I'm not being hesitant. Right. So think about that as you're having like interactions, whether it's your prospects or your members or in business. Also constantly learning. And I feel like the best way to learn is by teaching classes. Like I've learned so much by planning classes and teaching them. And also keeping track of your numbers. I feel like this is a habit of like, again, once you get into these leadership ranks, when you're going for a goal, like you have to know. So what I like to do is write my OGV down every day. So I can see like, okay, last month on the 3rd of the month, I was at 6,000 or whatever. And this month I'm only at 4,000. So where do I need to make up that gap? You know what I mean? Strategizing in that way. So yeah, having checklists, having action steps. I'm going to show you guys my planner. You might think I'm a crazy person, but I write everything down, literally everything I'm going to do for my business down to like the posts that I'm going to make. So like my planner is completely full. This is not like things that I'm doing and places I'm going. This is like my business. Like, this is like, okay, here's the content I'm making today. Here's what I'm posting in my education group. Here's what I'm posting in my business group. And I'm really big on systems and like schedules. So like every Monday I do a business video in my business group on some topic. Every Saturday I do a video in my business group, my education group. Every Tuesday I send out a newsletter, and then I have like content that I post. Yeah. So I really function on organization. And I feel like for, like I said, getting into these higher ranks, that's part of taking your business seriously to me, is having some type of organization and structure in your business rather than just like floating around in outer space and being like, I don't know what I'm doing and I'm just gonna I'm just going to throw this out there occasionally. So that's been really big for me. Okay. Oh, I also wanted to share. I pulled it up so I could share with you guys. Has anybody ever seen a rank map before? I wanted to share that along with like checklists and organization and how I'm talking about all of this like structure and things that hopefully doesn't overwhelm people. But this is a rank map. I'm sure if you go in Spruce Society or the distillery or any of our leadership business groups, you can search rank map in the magnifying glass and you can find some of these. I'm sure you will find them. So basically this is like taking your goal and breaking it down into more simple steps. And so like if you're silver and you need 10,000 OGV and you need your legs, you can basically plan out like, okay, here's who my executives are going to be. Here's who my senior stars are going to be. And then breaking down even down to like stars. And this really simplifies it for me because it helps me look at those people on my team and like help them get to where they need to go, right? So that's just something that I wanted to share. Okay. Like I said, this is attainable in 6 months or even less. If you truly set a goal and you put these action steps behind it, and you are willing to give the time and do the IPAs and the things for your business that are needed to hit silver or whatever rank you're going for, I promise you that you can do it. And to show you how much you can do it and how simple this can really be, rather than you getting off this call and being so overwhelmed with all of these things I just talked about, I want you guys to, screenshot this or write this down. I want you to do some of these things to see how simple this can be. Look at your downline after this call and see what your OGV would be if every 0 PV in your downline placed just a 50 PV order, how much OGV that would give you. Or if every single person in your downline just sold 1 kit, if you put everybody's referral link in their hands and just encourage them to share with 1 person, or if every single brand partner you have hit star, what that would do for your OGV. Honestly, you will be absolutely mind blown. Like, you're going to be like, holy cow, I will be like platinum or gold, or like, it's kind of mind blowing. And so I like doing this too, because it simplifies for me where I can put my energy and see massive results and what IPAs I can do, right? Like for these certain people, like, okay, how can I work with, I can like hone in on that and say like, how can I work with 0 PV members and get them placing that 50 PV order? Like it shows me the impact of what my IPAs are going to do. Or like, how can I get every single person in my downline to sell 1 kit? So like I said, I think you guys will be pretty mind blown. Above all else, like I'm saying, with this last slide of like breaking down all of this, keep it simple. I like to put things in simple terms for my team. So like silver is just enrolling 10 people and then teaching each of them how to enroll 10 people, right? Like it can be so simple if you're doing your job efficiently and effectively. It can be so simple. Like it doesn't have to be this like, oh my gosh, 10,000 OGV. Like I said, pull some of those reports and just like think of it in simple terms. Do the rank map or whatever it is. Break your bigger goals down into smaller goals. At the end of the day, like I'm sitting here, I'm telling you guys these IPAs and my strategy and my systems, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to those 3 things: enroll, educate, and duplicate. It's just a matter of how are you doing those things and how are you, like, those are the things that are going to grow your business and that are going to create impact. And that's the end. I just wanted to end with the Young Living income disclosure because I want you guys to see that big pay jump from executive to silver. It's pretty awesome. Okay, does anybody have any questions? I know I just talked for a very long time and I talked about a lot of things, so hopefully I didn't overwhelm anybody. Let's see.
either unmute or feel free to type. Okay, Dawn's got a question in there for you.
What's your recommendation for brand new people with no one signed up under them yet? So honestly, just start sharing. Like I said, literally the first thing I said in this Zoom on the slideshow was share every single day in every single way. So you're using your oils, you're using your products, share about them and not, share impactfully. So I always think about this, quote. It was a TED talk that I watched, Simon Sinek, I think that's his name, if you guys are familiar. But he said, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And so I always think about that when I'm sharing. I don't want to just share and be like, here's Valor, here's an oil that I'm using, here's the kit. Like I want to make an impact and share with people why I'm using it and touch their pain points. And make sure that when they're seeing my posts and they're seeing my stories, or I'm having a conversation in person or whatever it is, that they are being touched in some way by what I'm saying. So yeah, honestly, just sharing as much as you possibly can. And Dawn, I know that you're on my team. So like joining in those monthly sample groups that we're doing, like this month we're doing an oil sample group, which we can also talk about tonight if anybody has questions about that. Joining in on those and like getting samples out to people and like sharing on your social media about the oils you're using, sharing on your story, sharing in person, using them in public. Yeah, pretty much just sharing and like getting the word out about the oils. You talk about classes and classes. What kind of classes exactly? Any examples new here? Yeah, so I do all sorts of classes. I really I think that everybody has a different learning style. And so I try to do all different types of classes online. So I'll do like an event, like an essential oils for beginners class in a Facebook event. I'll do sample groups. I'll jump on my page and go live and talk about like, I think the last one I did was like castor oil packs and using essential oils that support different organs with them. And then in person, I try to host something at my house at least once a month. The last one I did was emotions and oils. So yeah, pretty much anything that like I teach about everything and anything. Right now I'm reading a book about hormone balancing and essential oils. It's actually really good. It was like a banned book. There's a lot of really juicy information in that. I always go for like the no longer books. There's like I have the 3rd edition desk reference is absolutely amazing. So those are more of like the in-person classes I do because, I can't say some of the things on the internet, but yeah, pretty much anything that interests you, like you could teach about anything and you can teach in any type of way. I've also done like text classes, like have people like opt into like a text thread where I send out a daily text about the starter kit or like skincare tips. Yeah. Do you send out newsletters? I do. I send a newsletter out every Tuesday. I will copy the link to this week's newsletter in the comments if anybody would like to see it. Find it here. I thought I had the link right up on my computer. Here we go. Okay, so I just shared the link to my newsletter. Basically just do like, it's like, I do like an oil of the week, and this is the content I share in my education group too. So an oil of the week, a supplement of the week, a DIY, a roller recipe, a diffuser recipe, a tip, and then like a product of the week. Like I try to kind of like do something each day. And then every other Thursday, I have a game night in my education group just to get engagement. So I'll like announce that in the newsletter to make sure people come. I'll announce any classes I'm doing. I'll announce the new promos. Yeah. In regards to turning all of your 0 PV orders into 50 PV orders, what is the most effective question you ask members to get them to open up about their wellness and what they need and how you can help? I struggle getting many to answer this, and I'm not sure how to make this happen, even though I connect personally with them. So honestly, the most success I've had is messaging people and asking them, what they currently have and getting them to use those first, because people aren't going to buy something else when they don't use what they've already bought. So this is why when people sign up, it's so important to have a system. It's so important to hold their hand those first 30, 60, 90 days and get them on loyalty that's when they're most excited. It's so important, because once that excitement dies off, if they didn't use their oils and they weren't plugged into classes and they weren't given a wellness plan and all these things, then it's hard to get them re-excited. And so if it were me, I would reach out and I would say like, hey, I hope you're doing well. I haven't talked to you in a while, small talk, and then say, I was just wondering like what oils you have. If you have any unopened ones, I would love to help you start using them. And then once they use them, like once you're having that conversation of like, they'll open up and share like what issues they're having. And you can get them using them and they're seeing results, then it's a lot easier to have that conversation. You can also, if you have a large amount of people, you could incentivize them. So you could say like, you're doing wellness calls this month. And you could say like, anybody that books a wellness call with me gets a free vitality oil, or you could buy like a bottle of rose and do like a rose roller or something, just to encourage them to get on a call with you. And then same thing, talk about the oils they have, the symptoms they have, and get them to use. And then once they're having results, then that'll make it a lot easier. Where do you share about products every day, your stories? Do you have a format of sharing non-Young Living things certain times and then sharing Young Living products, like a 4:1 ratio? Yeah, so I share on my stories every single day. I share on my page. I try to do like a 1-3, 1-4 ratio. Meaning like I do 1 Young Living related post and then 3-4 non-Young Living posts. And I make sure those posts are valuable, right? So I share like, for me, I share a lot of like recipes, a lot of like holistic health tips, like castor oil packs and dry brushing. Like that's kind of my thing. You guys are probably going to think I'm crazy to the organization level that I am, but again, that's just how I function best. I have like content cycles. So like, every Monday, I share a healthy recipe and I share an oil post. On Tuesday, I share a toxin-free, something like related to toxin-free living. On Wednesday, I share a holistic health related, like I said, castor oil packs or dry brushing, and a healthy recipe. Thursday, it's time for my oil post again, and I share something about the business. So like I have all my content planned out, and it actually works better for me because, or I should say I have my content topic planned. And it's the same every week. Like I sat down and I'm like, okay, here's the things I want to share about in my life that I want to share with the world. And here's the days I'm going to share about them. So then like Monday comes and I'm not like racking my brain, like, oh, I got to make another social media post. Like the way I look at it is I am a content creator. And so here's the things I'm sharing. And when I get to that day, then it's easier for me to be like, okay, I have to make an oil post today and share a healthy recipe. And then I do that. So that's what works best for me, to be consistent and to be sharing the things that I want to share about. So yeah, maybe that'll work for you too, but I'm a little extreme with my organization. You mentioned samples. Do you send out samples to people who haven't been ordering, and a newsletter? Okay, so the newsletter, I shared the link right above. Samples, I do sample groups once a month. That typically is prospects, like people that are interested. So like last month I did a thieves sample group, and I only invited prospects, but I know that some people on my team did people that were not on loyalty rewards. I haven't ever had anybody not on loyalty rewards join my sample groups, just because I usually do fill my spots with prospects. But I guess if I wouldn't, sure, I would extend it to them if I felt like it was the right person. As far as sending other samples, sometimes I will make posts and I'll like share like my sleepy roller recipe, and I'll say like the first 3 people to comment will get a sleepy roller from me. Or I bought these like cute thieves cleaner labels and like full-size bottles, and I said like, if you've been wanting to try thieves cleaner. So yeah, of course I had people that were members try to like comment on those posts, but I personally don't send samples to people that have already purchased. I want to have them order on their account. They already have an account, right? That's just how I do things. I'm sure some people do, but I would just say to them like, oh, you can just log right in and order that. Anybody else have questions? And I did share the sample group, the links to what I include in the sample groups. Well, 2 of the sample groups. I did oils and thieves. You can pretty much do a sample group out of anything, like get creative, even if it's not something I've shared. You can do, actually my team and I were brainstorming the other day and some people had some really good ideas. There was like feelings kit sample group, a skincare sample group. You can pretty much, yeah, you can pretty much make a sample group out of anything.
And we're definitely going to have you come back for another Spruce Society call at some point, probably next month, because already this month's already scheduled out. But just to dive deeper into the sample groups, so you can kind of show us how they are, like the Facebook groups that everybody gets put into and all of that. But this was fantastic. I know that you spoke about it last week. And I remember last week I was like, duh. But the whole idea of like, you have to talk about something, people have to see it, touch it, hear it 12 times. And you said last time, like, if you're only posting about something once a month, that's going to take someone a whole year. And I don't know why I didn't do the math in my head, but like, that was so mind blowing to me that I was like, I gotta step up my whole like routine of like talking about things because I don't talk about stuff enough. Like,
yeah, and I think too that people are afraid to repeat themselves. Like you
yeah,
should be repeating yourself, right? Like you should be showing people these are a part of my everyday wellness, you
right.
know, like, yeah.
Was
So
it you that also said like only 10% of the people on social media are actually seeing the post?
yeah.
Yeah, that was like
Yeah,
a
because of
Kristen
the
Voss.
algorithms.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I told you guys last week, and I posted in Spruce Society the 1090 challenge that we actually just ended it with my team. But that's why it's so important to go. I'm talking about like connecting and engaging with people. It's so important to keep making those new relationships and like connecting and nurturing them because yeah, it's like barely anybody is actually seeing your posts. And that's why it's important too to share, like I said, sharing in all the ways. The like, videos and reels are top tier, like they're going to get seen the most. And then like posts and stories and in person and all the things. Let me see. What strategy would you use for people say that oils are too expensive to purchase? Okay, so if somebody tells me this, I really like to kind of like break down people's excuses. Like if people tell me this when they are looking to buy a starter kit, I will like break it down for them how like it's not expensive. I'm also very intentional about the language that I use. And like I was talking about being bold and being confident, I always say it's only $165 because back to the energy you give off, the language you use, that's what people are going to feed off of versus if you're like super scared to tell them the price. But if they're still like, oh, that's too much for me, then I will offer to host a class with them for them to earn their kit. And so basically like they invite their friends, we can do it online or in person. And then when people are interested, people want to buy a kit, then we'll sign them up and then have those people sign up under them. And then it also gets them interested in the business right away. If it's people, if you're talking about people that are on that already bought a kit, then I would say like back to what I was saying about how important it is to have that system to like plug them into when they're getting started. I mean, they spent $100 or $165 initially to buy that, right? It was a priority at first. So like keeping them excited and keeping them engaged and showing them that the products work and showing them the value is where it's going to be. That's people will make anything a priority when they see the value in it, right? Like if they don't see the value, that's when they think it's expensive. It's cliche, but people buy like $8 Starbucks drinks, right? Like, yeah. What if you need help? Who do I reach out to when enroller is MIA? Do you mean like, I'm assuming you mean like your enroller? I would post in groups. I'm assuming you're in like business groups and Spruce Society things. So you can post in there. There's lots of leadership. We have tons of leadership. You can look in your virtual office to see who is above them and go above them. Or honestly, like a lot of the times I'm able to find the answer myself just by searching, like searching in the groups, searching in Google, asking a cross-line friend. Yeah, there's always a way to find the answer. Even on these calls, if you have a question, I'm sure that somebody will have the answer or be able to help. Do you reach out to people who always watch your stories, to the people who seem to be quietly interested? It depends. I never like cold contact anybody. Like I'm never like, hey, I know that you've been interested in you've been watching my stories. I do polls on my stories sometimes, and I'll ask like if they're interested in joining sample group, if they're interested in trying oils. Like I'll be like curious if you're using oils, if so, what brand. I haven't done it in a while, but I think it was last year I did a thing where I was like, anybody who answers these poll questions will be entered to win a $25 Amazon gift card from me. And it was like, do you use oils? If so, what brand? I have to go back and find it, but yeah, so you could just like do some poll options to get people engaging on your content. And yeah, if they've expressed interest, then I would definitely follow up with them and reach out to them. Do you use funnels online or is it direct one-on-one contact? For prospects, I always do one-on-one contact. I have used things like Project Broadcast to like loop them into text classes, but there's still some like one-on-one contact there. For like my newsletters that I'm like importing a CSV from Young Living from like my virtual office. But yeah, I kind of do things like I do a lot of things manually. I think we just talked about this because I told you like that's how my brain works. I get overwhelmed by like, I think Dawn, I think you asked me about like get oiling. By the way, this would be a great place to ask about that if anybody uses it, but I haven't used that. Yeah. When people say that Young Living oils are too expensive, I say, yes, they are expensive and you get what you pay for. Then I send them this. Yes. Everybody watch that reel. Yeah, and I'll make posts sometimes too about the value of the oils. Like I think people don't understand what actually goes into them. And this is why going to convention and like when you get into these ranks and you start earning these retreats, going to the farms is so important because you're able to share that part of your story and be like, yes, I will pay a few dollars more for my oils that are made like this. You know what I mean? It's so different and it gives you that confidence to speak about it and show a picture of yourself at like literally like my background is I clear all my notifications. My background is the Young Living farm. Oh my gosh, I clear all these. Okay. You know, like that's what I show people. Like I'm like, this, yes, this is, I will pay a few dollars more for this. Absolutely. When people say to me, it's too expensive, I go into my budget background. I will use my couponing background. Is there an alternative or something better? Yeah, I think what works for each person, like you have to, like I said, it really comes down to like how you can show people the value. That's pretty much what it comes down to. And like I said, it's your energy and your confidence. Like, if you're confident, then that's what they're gonna feed off of. I stopped using Get Oiling because of overwhelm and therefore stopped sending newsletters. Yeah, so I just use Flowdesk to send newsletters. Super simple. I don't use any like funnels or anything like that. I know there's a few out there. I'm not saying they don't work. I'm sure they work amazing for some people. Just my brain needs to do everything like separately. If I'm like, I like squirrel a little bit. Here's a link to Flowdesk. If I like have too many things in one place, like text and emails and classes and this and that. I just get really overwhelmed. I like having my different platforms, but yeah, I've heard amazing things about Get Oiling. Carol just mentioned diamond marketing. I've heard amazing things about that. So if you are looking for like a everything in one place, then I'm sure those will work great for you. I think just different brains and different personalities, right? Flowdesk is $39 a month though, and it's unlimited emails. So I like it because I can have like different it's called segments. So like I have a local segment. So when I have a local event, I send invites out through that. I have a brand partner segment I can send business stuff out through. I have all of my team. I send on the first of the month like a email to people that just enrolled that are like, here's all the resources we have in our community. Here's the link to our education group and text classes and this and that. So here's how to get your referral link and all of those things. I use the Spruce Society ebook each month. Yeah, I actually just saw that when I was scrolling. I hate that Facebook doesn't give us like notifications for things, but when I was scrolling to look for the link to this Zoom, I saw that and I was like, oh my gosh, I never saw that before. Okay, any other questions? Okay, well, thank you guys so much for having me. And I hope this was helpful. I hope sometimes I get on my like tangent talking and I'm always like, oh, I hope I don't overwhelm people. So I hope that it was useful in some way.
Definitely. I took a bunch of notes. I always learn so much from you. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and your systems and your experiences with everyone. I'm sure everybody is inspired and ready to just like take this and do stuff. So even though I've been doing the business for 10 years and then I'm an RCD, like I still learn things from everybody. So these calls are awesome. I just want to highlight that we've got a couple more awesome calls coming up this month. Check Spruce Society for the schedule, but tomorrow we have KO Malik at 1 p.m. Pacific time. She's going to be talking a Facebook Live about spring wellness with Chinese medicine and essential oils. Then we've got our, on Monday, we've got our next Zoom call for business stuff. And then there's calls with Leanne Anderson, Transforming Procrastination. Yvonne, my sister, and Tiffany Polito, who's on this call, who's an amazing leader. They're going to talk about how teamwork makes the dream work. And then at the end of the month, Jessica Petty is going to do a call about the Young Living Health Plans. So hopefully you can put all those dates, go check in Spruce Society. The schedule is up in the featured section in the pinned area. So you can check all those times, and obviously everything is always recorded. If it's a Facebook Live, it's always going to be in Spruce Society. If it's a Zoom, we'll get access. It'll be posted up in the YouTube, and then there'll be a post in Spruce Society with the YouTube link, and that's usually 24 to 48 hours afterwards. Okay? Thanks, everyone. Thanks again, Lauren, for your time.
Of course, thank you.
Okay,
Have a good
bye.
night.